Hey guys, welcome back. Today Casey's going to walk us through some tips and tricks for becoming fast at AutoCAD and working on keystrokes, eliminating keystrokes, and things to generally increase your speed and efficiency. So let's learn.
One of the most important things to increase your drafting speed is to learn how to navigate within your file by using as few keystrokes as possible. So by keystroke, I mean one movement of your hand to input data into your AutoCAD, right? So one of the key things is using the middle mouse wheel instead of pan to navigate throughout your file, okay? So many people, they'll use the command pan and then they will click and drag to navigate within model space, and they'll use their mouse wheel to zoom in and out only. Okay, this is an extremely slow way of navigating within your file. So say for example I'm looking at this corner of this site here and I want to look at the bottom left corner instead. Well, now I have to do P for pan and either drag all the way to the bottom corner, so I just clicked 6 or 7 times there, okay, or you can, maybe to reduce the number of clicks, you'll do P for pan, zoom out, drag down, zoom in, right? So now you've done, you've reduced the number of keystrokes, but you're still having to type P, that's one keystroke, enter is another keystroke, and then zoom out is a third keystroke, click is another keystroke, and then zoom in is another keystroke. So it just took you 6 keystrokes to move from one corner to another. However, if you accommodate yourself to using just the middle mouse wheel to navigate in your drawing, you can significantly reduce the number of keystrokes it takes to look at one place and then look at another. So what do I mean by that? If you notice, whenever you zoom in or zoom out with your mouse wheel, it's dependent upon where your cursor is located out on your screen. So if I have my cursor here in the top left, it's going to zoom out like this. It's going to zoom out and include more of the screen away from the cursor, okay? And then if I zoom in, it's going to fill in the screen closer to the cursor, etc. So if I'm looking down at this corner, okay, and I want to look up at that corner, I can simply move my cursor essentially away from where I want to look, zoom out, and then move my cursor close to where I want to look and zoom in. Okay, and I can move my cursor around to adjust from left to right. Right, so say I want to look a little bit more over here to the left, I can put my cursor on the right side of my screen, zoom out, and then to the left side of the screen where I want to look and zoom back in, etc. So you could significantly reduce the number of keystrokes it takes to navigate across your screen inside of CAD itself. So it can be really tricky and really funky to get used to at first, especially if you've been using pan or you have pan assigned to the middle button on your keyboard, on your mouse, and you've been using that for so long. But once you accommodate yourself to using the mouse wheel, zooming in and out to navigate across your file, you can navigate much faster. Say I don't want to look at this anymore, I want to look at the blocks. Zoom out, zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out, zoom in. Right? It's much faster. Okay. Now we can talk about reducing the number of keystrokes on your keyboard. So one of the things that many people will do is, say for example, they want to type out each and every individual command instead of using the shortcuts for each command. So for example, if they want to fillet 2 lines together, they'll type fillet. So if you look at my command window down here in the bottom, they'll type out the entire word fillet instead of just typing F and then enter. So as you can see here, the command F is short for fillet. So some people want to type out the entire command fillet, which is entirely not necessary. Another thing a lot of people tend to do is they tend to use only the enter key to input their commands. By default in CAD, there's 3 different ways that you can essentially hit enter to hit your commands. You can hit any of the enter keys. You can hit the right click button on your mouse. So say for example I'm doing fillet, so I just typed F, right? I can hit, see if I can pull my mouse so that it can be seen, right? I can right click on my mouse and that'll hit enter, okay? Or I can use the space bar. Most people that are very efficient with CAD are going to be using the space bar or right click on their mouse, right? Or some combination of the two. I use mostly the space bar and right click on my mouse, also quite a bit, but mostly the space bar. So instead of typing F-I-L-L-E-T, that's 6 keystrokes, and then hitting enter, 7, I can just type F space, all with my left hand. And I don't have to pick up one hand. I don't have to hit F and then pick my hand up, move it to the other side of the keyboard, and then hit enter. Right? That's entirely unnecessary if I just use my thumb to hit the keyboard. So when I'm drafting and when I'm trying to draft fast, I have my 4 fingers, right? My index finger or my pointer finger through my pinky finger are hitting all the buttons on the keyboard to punch in commands, and my thumb is just hitting the space bar over and over again. Thumb's just hitting the space bar, okay? I hardly ever have to take my right hand off the mouse to type in any commands, and I hardly ever have to pick my hand up to the other side of the keyboard to hit enter. I may have to pick my hand up to the other side of the keyboard to punch in certain commands like polyline. You know, my left hand is controlling my keyboard, right? My left hand stays, fingers over the WASD keys and thumb on the space bar, so I have to move my left hand across my keyboard to type in PL and then enter. So there's some instances in where you have to pick up or move your hand. But just by virtue of keeping one hand on my mouse, using the mouse wheel to navigate, and then using the thumb to hit spacebar or my middle finger on my mouse to hit right click, I've reduced the number of keystrokes when drafting drastically. So say for example, I wanted to fillet these 2 lines together. Well, I could type in FILLET, enter, and then fillet them together, right? Or I could type in F space, fillet them together. So I just turned 7 keystrokes into 2 keystrokes, right? So you can drastically reduce the number of keystrokes that it takes. And when you combine them all together, so let's say, for example, I had a variety of different things which I wanted to do. So let's say, I've got a handful of different things that I want to do, right? Instead of doing pan, dragging over to this, set of 2 lines I want to fillet, then hitting escape, then typing the full word fillet, then hitting enter, then taking my hand, right, because I just hit enter with this hand, taking it back to my mouse, clicking here, and then pan again all the way down here, okay, and then fillet, typing the full word again, hitting enter, then clicking again, okay. Instead of doing all that, I can simply do mouse wheel over, F space, fillet, mouse wheel out, mouse wheel in, F space, fillet. It's far faster, okay? And pretty much every command, default commands in CAD and our custom list commands have shortened versions. So you don't have to type in the entire word polyline to draw a polyline. You could simply type PL, right? And then it's going to automatically pop up. Another thing is you don't have to wait for your command window to display whatever command before you enter it. So you can type in F for fillet, and then you can wait for the command window to pop it up on your screen so that you know that that's the command. Or you can just do F enter, and it's just automatically going to open up this fillet, right? So you might find yourself typing polyline, waiting for it to come up. Cool, it says polyline, hitting enter, then drawing your polyline, or you could just type PL enter and then draw, right? So it's much faster, okay? AutoCAD can keep up with any human level of input, okay? You can type in and punch in commands as fast as you possibly can, and the computer will be able to keep up with you. You don't have to wait for it to load in each command. And once you get familiar with each and every command, where it is on the keyboard, you'll get faster and faster. And then you can combine that with a more efficient right hand or a more efficient mouse hand to navigate in your file, as well as input commands much faster.